This is lesson 4 of 7 for American Style, also known as the National Mah Jongg League. If you haven't seen lessons 1, 2, and 3, stop this video and go watch those first lessons because they're fundamental to what we're going to do now. If you don't have your National Mah Jongg League card, you need to also stop this video and order that card, and don't watch the videos until you have that card because you're going to need it. You may get lost in the process without that card for reference, because I can't show it to you. I can only do mock-ups and whatnot, but you will need that card to do these lessons. That being said, this lesson is going to be all about how to find a category on the card that best fits your random 13 dealt tiles when you're playing a game. So let's get started with this exercise. So I have all my tiles on the table upside down. They're well mixed, and I have a rack. Now you can do this with other players too. Just do it one player at a time, or it's going to be mayhem. Just one player at a time. And what you're going to do is you're going to take 13 random tiles. So there's our 13. And then you're going to put those tiles on your rack, or on your rack if you're with other people like that. But if you're by yourself, put them in your rack is fine. And you're going to put them in this order that I'm going to tell you here. This order will help reveal certain patterns. Later, we can rearrange the tiles in like numbers and whatnot, because we'll be further into the game and past the Charleston. But this particular order, I think, is best at this phase of the game, which is the drawn hand just prior to the Charleston. So you want to put your jokers to the left, then your flowers, then your winds, then your dragons, then your numbered suits in order. All right, then the first thing that you want to look for is, where are my multiples? Multiples can be a pair, a pung, or a kong. In this case, our multiples are right here, the 3. We have a 3 crack. So you always want to keep your flowers. So we're just going to leave that to the side. We have to start with the 3 crack. Then you want to look at the rest of your tiles and decide which category on the card best uses the tiles here that support my multiple. And you want to start systematically looking through the categories, or thinking about the categories and deciding which category is best. So we're not going to play the year category, even though we have a white, because we'd have to throw away our pair. That's the strength of our hand. We don't want to play 2, 4, 6, 8 because we'd have to throw that away. Obviously, that's not an even number. Let's look at maybe the like numbers. We don't have any other 3s, so we're not going to play that either. The lucky 13, we're not going to play because this is a pair of 3s. We'd have to break this up in order to play lucky 13. We don't want to play quince, which is the next category, because we only have 1 multiple and only 1 joker. That's not enough to play that at this time. Let's look at the consecutive options then. Anytime you have a multiple, you want to look at your 1 suit options first. And we do have 1 suit here. We have a 2, 3, 4. The 1 suit option, there's a couple of them this year in 2017. There's the first one, which is spans 5 numbers. We don't really have that. We're a little short. There are gaps both in the 5 and the 1. And then there's a 2-number option, which would be like 3, 4, or 2, 3. So that's actually a viable option. So and then you could even expand it further from 1 suit to mixed suits. So now really we have 6 tiles towards consecutive with a 4-number range, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you don't care what suit they are or how they fit together, not yet, because we have discards. Anytime you have discards, you really do not have to pick a hand. So just rest easy and know if I have discards, I don't have to pick a hand. So this is probably going to be a pretty good option, consecutive. But let's look at odds. So in the odds, you have you have either the 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, or you have 1, 3, 5, and 5, 7, 9. So here we have 1 and 3s, but we have a big gap. We have no 5s. We could do 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, but again, we have no 5s and we have no 7s. So really the 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 is not a good category. After 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, we have winds and dragons. Now we do have a south that goes with odds this year. So I would keep the south just in case we get a bunch of 3s. Then we have, let's see, the 3, 6, 9 category. We have no 6s. So that's not a good category for us. And then the singles and pairs hand, every hand in the singles and pairs hand is from another category on the card. So during the analysis phase, when you are systematically looking through or thinking about the categories, they're going to apply to the single and pair categories. So you really don't need to go there. Not only that, but we have a joker. We'd have to throw this joker away if we played singles and pairs. And throwing one joker away is actually not that bad of an idea if you're set up with a single and pair situation. And in this case, we don't have enough for a single and pair. Let me just take a peek here real quick. We could, yeah, no, we really don't have a single and pair option here this year. So really, for this situation, consecutive is best, with wins and like numbers being a long shot, basically. But we have tiles that we can pass here. I wouldn't pass a white dragon. They're very valuable because they're used as zeros and they're used as dragons. So I try to treat white dragons like a flower. I try not to pass flowers. Passing flowers and white dragons is a rarity. It should be a rarity. Also, what should be a rarity is passing like numbers. That's a step down from passing flowers or a pair. So I would not pass like numbers, white dragons, or flowers. So, and there are exceptions to the rule. So in this particular case, we're all right because we have a green dragon, an 8, and a 9. Now this is a little bit risky because it's consecutive and it's the same suit. If we were not comfortable with that, we could give up on the south and go ahead and throw, let's say, the 8, because souths go with odds. We could make this pass better by passing an even because the south doesn't go with an even. So that's the thought process that you want to go through when you get your dealt hand and you need to decide which category best fits my tiles. The key is finding your multiple, identifying the tiles that support your multiple, and then figuring out what to pass. If you don't have enough tiles to pass, then you can whittle down what you've selected from the tiles supporting your multiple to add to those minimal tiles for passing. So let's do this one more time. Mix them up. Get some of these tiles over here. We're going to take 13. Quick way to count is pull 4 from each side. If you have 5 in the middle, you've got your 13. So then we can just pop them up, put them in our rack. Again, if you're doing this with other people, put them on top so everybody can see, and do it one player at a time. Okay, so now we do our sort. We're going to do jokers, then flowers, then winds, then dragons, then our numbered tiles. And then you analyze. So the first thing you want to do is you want to look for your multiples. Our multiple is the west. So that's where your strength is, the west. Now, the west is in the winds and dragons category. So guess what we're going to keep? All the winds and dragons. Then you want to look at your remaining tiles and think to yourself, what can I do with the Winds and Dragons East-West? You know that there's an East-West hand on the card in 2017 that uses like numbers with odds. Do we have odds in a like number situation? Really, we don't. We've got evens. Oh, no. We need evens, not odds. East-West goes with evens. Oh, how nice. Look at this. We've got sixes. So we could do the evens with the sixes. And let's see here. Now, we do have some evens here. We have a 2, 4, 6, but we have no 8s. So as I was looking at this East-West evens idea, I thought, well, what about the evens category? But there's a big gap. There's no 8s. So I think we really don't even have to go any further, because with this West, the Wind and Dragon category with evens is going to be it for us. So then we're going to look at what we have to pass, and we're going to pick a good pass. You want to have a mixture, if you can, of maybe a wind and a 2 numbered tiles, different suits, and even and odd. So we'll do something like that. We'll do a 1 crack. Well, no, because look at all this. This is consecutive. Even though it's different suits, it's still consecutive. So definitely the 7, and then let's do a 3 and a 1. And that way we're not doing consecutive. The 1 is really far from the 7. But this is 2017. We don't want to do a 17. That's almost as bad as passing a pair. It's kind of like passing a 1, 3 in one suit, because Lucky 13 has a 1, 3. I would not do that. I'd break that up. We'll do a 3, 4, 7. That would be a good pass. So that's the modeling exercise, and I call that the random pull. You can repeat this until you're comfortable identifying the category that best fits your 13 random dealt tiles at the beginning stage of a game. So you can just put the tiles on the table and pour yourself a glass of wine, a margarita, and just repeat that process until you're comfortable. So the next lesson, we're going to enter in the Charleston. So I hope you're ready for it. Practice, and then the next lesson we'll add the Charleston.